This week we're going to be talking about The Same But Different. Let's start off by giving a listen to the original.
I couldn't make it to the wedding, no, and I miss the good old days. Down at the same old diner, sitting at the same old booth, telling the same old stories. I don't know how, but it's different now. I've been a perfect bastard. I never kept in touch.
When I was writing this song, I always kind of heard it as a classic rock song, which is a little odd because I wouldn't put classic rock high on my list of influences. There's some great stuff to be sure, but it's not, generally speaking, my go to. But all the same, it came out a big way in this song when I wrote it, and I leaned into that when I arranged it. So let's give that a listen.
Bumped into an old friend. She caught me up on what's happening. Beth's in Maine, she bought a house. Frankie and Candace had a falling out. It makes me miss the good old days. Down at the same old diner, sitting at the same old booth, telling the same old stories. I don't know how, but it's different now. I heard about Sebastian. No one should have to go that young. I heard about Caleb and Cole. I couldn't make it to the wedding, no. It makes me miss the good old days. Down at the same old diner, sitting at the same old booth, telling the same old stories. I don't know how, but it's different now. I've been a perfect bastard. I never kept in touch, and I never dropped a line to let you know I'm fine, until the day I find I'm wasting time. I don't know how, but it's different now. Down at the same old diner, sitting at the same old booth, telling the same old stories. I don't know how, but it's different. It's all the same.
So when you listen to the arrangement, you might hear elements of Journey or Boston or Thin Lizzy. If I were to list all of the bands or albums that are my influences, it would be pretty low on the list before I got to those bands. Not that there's anything wrong with them, just not hugely influential to me. But that doesn't mean they don't have great stuff. And I've heard some of it, and it's all rattling around in my head somewhere. So it all tends to come out in some ways. But just because I wrote this song thinking about classic rock, and just because I arranged the song thinking about classic rock, doesn't mean that you don't see any of my other influences come through in the arrangement as well. The very beginning of the first track on Midnight Oil's Earth and Sun and Moon, Feeding Frenzy, the master of the song starts with the playhead exactly where the music starts. And because with old tape machines, there's always a startup period of a half a second or something, you can hear that effect in the very first second or two of the song. I always thought it was kind of a cool effect, and so I was trying to emulate that a little. The beginning of the song and a couple points throughout the song, there's this digital approximation of tape effects that I've included here. Not the same as a real thing, but I don't have a reel-to-reel tape machine, nor do I have hundreds of thousands of dollars. so I probably won't be getting one anytime soon. Another example of influences bleeding in, at the beginning of the second verse, all the instrumentation drops out except for the bass and lead vocals, and then the band comes back in with a drum hit on 4. And this is very similar to the way the title track from Rilo Kiley's Execution of All Things begins. There's maybe a 20-second intro, and then it all kind of fades away just to a single bass line, and then the lead vocals start, and then the rest of the band comes in shortly after. I always loved that song. I always thought it was a really cool effect, so I wanted to emulate that here in my arrangement. I'm not going to bore you with every little thing, just wanted to give you an idea of the palette I work with. Anyway, I think that'll do it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.